Firstly, I do apologize if you hear some banging going on in the background. They're doing some type of work outside. I don't know what the heck is going on out there. I have yet to look because I don't really care, but somebody's doing something out there. So if you hear banging, ignore it. Second of all, this is only the second time I have ever finished a sketchbook in full. So, woot woot. That was like the most enthusiastic whoop ever. So I am really excited about this being only the second time ever that I have ever completed a sketchbook in full. As I said in my previous last page sketchbook thing, I have completed sketchbooks before, but not like this where I actually consider them completed. All the ones I've completed before, they were only full of small sketches and they weren't like completed anything at all. They're more like sketch ideas, and then I would take that idea and I would put it on a bigger piece of paper. And because when I was younger, I used to work exclusively in 18 by 24 because I was insane. So I would sketch something in the small book and then I would take that image and then I would make it a bigger full piece. So all my old sketchbooks are just full of sketches, if you will. And now my new ones are all full of completed pieces. So that is exciting for me. In my sketchbook, I actually rip out all my pages just because in order to get my art on Instagram, I go through a little bit of a process. So what I first do is I rip the art out and then I scan it in and scan it up to my computer. Once it is on my computer, I edit it just to make sure it looks like what it looks like in real life. A lot of the time I will remove the background, like the white background that I scanned in, because the color varies, and then I will put in just like a really, really stark white background in like Krita or something. And then from there, I will email it to myself, and then I will get the email on my phone. I will download it into my phone, and then I will upload that image into Instagram. Actually, I put it on another app first, and then I upload it from that app into Instagram, just because when I put it in that app, it doesn't distort the picture too much from Instagram, because Instagram Instagram compresses your pictures and just throws the quality way out of whack. So I like to keep them as crisp as I can possibly get them. I like my images very crisp. So if you ever go on my art Instagram, which is the same name, ThatAnxiousArtist on Instagram.com. If you ever go on Instagram, my art is, it looks basically like what a print would look like. That was like the new style I was going for, just because I want people to know what my art would look like if you were going to buy a print of it. So on the Instagram, I like my art to be very crisp and clean and exactly what a print of it would look like. Anyways, let's get on to the art in this video. So as you can see at the beginning of this young lady did have dreadlocks, and that's just because the reference that I was using had dreadlocks and I liked the way they looked. And then I realized that even though she doesn't look too much like the reference, I didn't want to keep the dreadlocks because, as I said before, I don't like to use my references as like me drawing them. I just want to reference facial structure and shape and where things should go. I don't want my people to look like the people I'm referencing. I don't want to draw that person again. So I decided to change a couple of things up, and one of the things I decided to take out after I was done was the dreadlocks. Another reason I took those out is because I was planning on doing like a celestial hair situation on this girl and I just didn't think that the dreadlocks would lend themselves to that type of look that I was going for. I didn't think it would look too good, or I didn't think I could pull off the look with what I was going for. I think it would have too many white lines in it, I guess, because each of the dreadlock strands would have to have a white line. But then I was also planning to do like celestial hair, so the hair would also have like white stars and everything in it, and I thought that it would be too busy. It'd be too much going on for that to work out for me. So that was my idea, at least, when I was thinking about what I did and did not want to have in this picture. Surprisingly enough, I actually don't do a ton of planning for my drawings. I usually just kind of let them flow and do what they want to do. I know that sounds like such a cliche artist thing, like I let the art speak to me. But I honestly kind of do. I just kind of let it do its thing and lead me where it wants to go. Actually, quick sidebar, because I just remembered this. Before I even freaking started doing the painting process on this, so first I sketched and then I put my inks out. And then as I had my inks out, I have like the kind where it's like a dropper. So I was like squeezing the dropper to get the ink out of the brown ink tube, whatever, out of the brown ink dropper. I was squeezing it because it wasn't coming out. And I guess it was like hard ink in there, so when I squeezed it too hard, it like popped and the ink went everywhere. Oh my gosh, I had droplets on my picture, which you can see a little bit of. It was like all splattered over my computer screen. It was all on everything on my desk. It was on my mouse. It was on my keyboard. Oh my gosh, it was all on my desktop. It was everywhere. It was on my little organizer I have. It's like sprayed on my piggy bank on the wall. Oh my gosh, it was awful. So I don't want to say like I gave up on this, but I was like a little frustrated before I even started doing the color, because I had to wipe everything down and then I started doing the color, which is why I'm gonna segue into this next part, which is the color. So yes, I'm using a skin color in this, which is something I don't often do, but I thought it'd be cool just to do a skin color on this one. But it is a bit patchy. You have to forgive me for that. I think what the problem was usually when I do skin tones, I first put down a layer of water and then I put down a layer of lightened ink of whatever color I'm going to use on the skin. And then on top of that, I build to the darkest color that I want it to be. But this time I put down the water and then I went right for the dark color. And so I think that made it just slightly patchy and like a little bit not what I was going for. And no matter how many layers I put on it, because I think I put like 3 layers on this one, it still was not just going, it just wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. So in the end, I actually cheated a little bit. I mean, I guess it's not cheating, but you know, I am a novice at digital art at the best. Like at best I am a novice, however you say that word. So my digital art skills are not very good. I know very little. I know enough to edit a picture to make it look like what it looks like in person. I do not know enough to like digitally paint things, but I did attempt to do that with this one just because the skin ended up being so patchy at the end. It made me so angry because it looked nothing like it looks in person, because in person it actually is not quite that patchy, but when I scanned it into my computer, I guess the light from the scanner just like washed it out completely, and I don't know enough about scanners to fix those settings or whatever. I always scan at 600 dpi. I don't know if that had an effect on it, but either way, I just didn't know enough terminology, whatever, to fix whatever I did on the scanner. So I did enough where I like kind of had a version where it kind of looked like what I wanted it to look like, but it wasn't good enough. So instead of using my scanner, which is what I usually do, I actually took a picture on my phone, which has a pretty high quality camera. So I took a picture on my phone and then I uploaded that to like Krita or whatever, and then I edited on that, and it ended up being better than the scanned version, but still not quite what I wanted it to look like. It still didn't look like what it looked like in person. So then I was like, forget this, I'm gonna do it digitally. So I erased all of her skin in Krita and then I added it back in digitally, and I think it looks better than what the scanned image looked like and what the image that I took a picture of my phone looks like. But it doesn't look like what it looks like in person, just because, you know, it's digital, and what I did in person is inks and traditional art, so of course it's not going to look exactly the same. But to me, I don't know, it's a little weird to me to see what it looks like in person and to see a digital version of it that doesn't really look like what I created. But I guess I created both, because I did do the digital art, and when I say art, I'm putting that in quotations, because when I say I am not good at digital art, I mean it. Like my digital art is always so flat. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I'm just horrible at it. I even bought a bamboo tablet a couple years ago and I used it once and I was like, wow, this is so hard, I never used it again. Yeah, so I do want to show you what it looks like in the end with both of them, which I will. I will show you the scanned version, I will show you the digital version, and I will show them like a side-by-side comparison, I guess. But yeah, this one was a bit of a doozy for my last page. It was not as simple as I thought it was going to be. It was not as simple as I was hoping it was going to be. I thought this would be like a straightforward, because I've done the celestial look, I've done the skin before. Like, this is not the first time I'm doing something brown skin, so you know, I don't know what the problem was. I guess the only thing I can think about is, I guess I was just frustrated because that stupid ink exploded everywhere before I could even freaking start what I wanted to start. So that was annoying, and maybe that's what kind of threw me off, is that I had to clean up the ink before I could even start to paint. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, and that's why it's so patchy in the end. But only on camera, it doesn't even look like that in person. Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyways, this is essentially what she looked like in the end, but on camera, because in person she looks a lot better. And then this is what she looks like when I tried to do like a scanned version. This is actually the version where I took a picture of it and then fixed it in Krita. And then this is what it looks like when I did it digitally, and I added her skin back in digitally. And then you can see a side-by-side comparison of what they look like together. Personally, I like the digital one better, but you know, you decide. Okay, babe.